I loved it.
I loved it. It was awesome.
Amazing.
I still love it.
Yeah.
It literally represents us so much because it's like this ridiculous power ballad and like just the goofiness of it, but the fun of it too. Like we loved it, and it could have been such a cool character.
What's up, Bengal fans? It's your host, Joey Karni, and I want to thank you for clicking on this video. It was an amazing experience, and I can't wait for you to watch the full episode and enjoy it just as much as I did filming it. Now, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe down below to stay up to date with all the Angles activity right here on YouTube. Now enjoy the show.
Let's go, let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Angle Podcast. I'm here with two special guests this time, the true power couple of professional wrestling. We have Bennett and Maria Kanellis. Welcome, and how are you both?
Wonderful. People are probably wondering if we have issues or something because we're in two different places.
Believe it or not, we do still like each other.
Yeah, you know, it happens from time to time.
Of course, the true power couple making it work, you know? So to kind of start off, you know, this conversation, how was your Valentine's Day? I know that was the most recent thing to happen. So how was that?
Let's see. I had, I think I was thrown up on. I at least changed 2 poopy diapers, possibly 3. I wiped a lot of butts that day. Yeah, it was a very smelly Valentine's Day. No, we don't usually celebrate Valentine's. So I celebrated it with the kids, which was awesome because Mike's on the road. But usually we celebrate Valentine's and my birthday at the same time. So yeah, we didn't do anything. And Mike's on the road. Were you in Oklahoma?
Yeah, so our Valentine's Day, I was in Oklahoma City in a blizzard and wrestled the show in front of 14 people. It was a hell of a Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I kind of want to get into that whole experience you had in a little while, but to kind of touch on everything that's happened in the past year. I know it's been filled with ups and downs, to be honest, and kind of start from the beginning. COVID life, how has it affected the training, daily life, home life, everything of that nature?
Dear, you take it away.
It's been a very interesting year, and like you said, ups and downs. I mean, we started off the year with Mike supposedly going to start teaming with Tony in NXT, and that starting to be a real thing. So we were excited about that. And then having our son in February, and that was amazing. And he's such a happy little boy. Right off the bat, he was like sleeping and doing all the things he was supposed to do. So we were really happy about that. And then when I was 2 months postpartum, and then COVID hit, and we all started going into a lockdown mode. And then April happened, and we lost our jobs. And you know, a lot of people like to say it was because of coronavirus and everything, but it wasn't, because if it was, then WWE wouldn't have had a record year. So they released everybody that they had signed within the last year because they wanted to make up that money for other things that they have going on. I'm assuming it has to do with the different lawsuits and stuff. So in order to do that, we were released. And that was really rough on us at first, especially, you know, being postpartum. There's a lot that happens in a woman's brain, and like, you know, with her hormones and emotions after having a baby. So like dealing with all of that, and then both of us getting fired was really tough. But we learned to dance through it. We learned to enjoy this time with our family. Thank God we had saved money. And so we knew we would be good for a little while. And, you know, doing that and being able to really enjoy that time with our kids. And right out the gate, we were getting phone. I mean, Dixie contacted us, and so did, and so did Ring of Honor right out the gate. So, like, you know, starting to hear from people and really, you know, knowing there was an interest was great. It starts to give you a little bit of a boost. And but then the virus, you know, it was definitely just starting to get more and more ferocious, and you're worried that these companies are not going to be able to withstand that time. But luckily, by the summertime, Mike kind of knew he was going to Ring of Honor, and you know, that knowing that helped a lot.
Of course.
And then a few months after he started there, then they started being interested in me as well. So, you know, I think we're on a really good path now. I'm really excited about it. It's a blessing in disguise. Ring of Honor fits our values. And our morals so much better than WWE did at the time. So, you know, we're excited what we can do next. Does that cover it, dear? Did I hit all the high
Hey,
points?
I got nothing to say. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. You guys did it covered. I'm gonna go back to Kansas.
And I remember the videos you both posted when those releases happened, and they were so different from the other ones that were released at that time because they were so positive and like motivating. And I think to a lot of people in that particular situation, it actually did do a lot of good for them to hear that. What was both your reactions to from fans or just peers from those videos you both posted?
It's crazy. Like we had two totally different kinds of reactions. Like
Yeah.
we had the psychopaths that were like, "How dare you have a baby?" and blah blah. Like, of course you got released, even though every other company has maternity leave. Like, hello, this is America we live in. We don't live in, you know, like and I'm not owned by the fans. So if I want a family, I have a family.
Yeah.
So there was that reaction. But then there was the other side. Like so many people were just so excited to have us back on the independent scene, to have us back in possibly Ring of Honor or New Japan or wherever we were going to go, because they had stuck with us through those other companies, Impact and Ring of Honor and New Japan. They liked what we did over there, and they hated what we were doing in WWE. So they were like, "Yes, we get our people back."
Yeah.
And I just keep talking about in all the interviews and stuff that I do. Like, I'm going to have a hugging mosh pit when we have fans back. I'm going to leave the ring, and I'm going to go out into the fans and be like, "Come on, just bring it in." And we're all going to jump up and down. It's going to be back like when I was like 20. It's going to be amazing.
I feel also like the reaction was mostly positive from people.
Yeah.
Like Maria said, there's always the crazies that like whenever WWE does something bad, they instantly will come to defend them. Like they could go on like a murdering spree and they'd be like, "Well, those people probably deserve to be murdered. Let's be honest, you know." That's usually what those fans do. So, like a whole, most of the fans were genuine. They usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from there, I mean, you guys kind of had different paths individually to WWE. Mike going through, more independent scene, being well known around the world before WWE. Maria, you being there, I think it was 2006 with the Diva Search. If you can, Maria, can you compare your first run there to? It's very different, but your first run to your last run.
Okay, so my first run in WWE, I didn't realize it, but come to find out, I was one of the favorites at the time.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. You never know if you're liked there or hated. Like it's just who knows? It could be both in like the same day. It's insane. Yeah. So I was on every single show in WWE the first time, and we all knew at that time from when I got there in 2004 to 2010, like we all knew during that time, if you were off 3 TVs, that was it. You were done. So coming back the second time and not being on for so long was so weird to me
Yeah.
because before it would have just been fired. Been like, okay, well, I guess I'm not right for this company. But this time around, it was like they would sit you at home for months on end, and they would still want to keep you. And it's like, wait a minute here, I'm getting older. Like I have to make up the most of it now. You know, there's a shelf life to. And luckily now, you know, because there's been so many powerful women in this industry, it's not as short as it used to be, but we're still looking at, you know, we're looking at a shorter time frame than most other places. So like, you can't just sit at home and, you know, expect to continue to get contracts if you don't have a bigger name. So when I left WWE the first time, I made almost the least money I have in any company. So my contract when I left WWE, working 300 to 350 days a year, doing Celebrity Apprentice, doing every single like interview, whatever, I was making less than I was in Impact and this last time I came back. So like, I came up with a huge fan base, but I still like it wasn't like I was making millions in WWE. So like I went out to the Indies and I did that, and I loved my time in between. And so then coming back and being offered a bigger contract, I was like, yes, of course, you paid me peanuts before. Like I was taking home less than when I was, you know, when I was working at indie shows. Like, so this time, you know, I was making more money, but I was working so much less. And I was like, this isn't right. Like I should be, you know, I like to work for my money. I don't just, you know, so it was real strange, but I say this all the time. No matter what anybody thinks about my last run at WWE, there is a lot of pregnant women and women that have had babies that come up to me and thank me for being a positive influence in what people think about what pregnant women can do. Because when I won the championship, I think I was like 18 weeks pregnant. And like a lot of people thought like, oh, you can't still have a viable role on television. And so if that's all it was a way to empower other women to believe that they can hold these positions, then that's enough. It's good enough for me.
And Mike, you had you know, a slightly different path going through the independent circuit or scene. Was it your overall goal to get to WWE when you were first time in the independents, like a lot of professional wrestlers?
Yeah, no, WWE from like Jump Street was always my goal, and I kind of had tunnel vision, which is kind of funny now because my goals are the exact opposite. It's I just did a seminar last night where I was telling the guys and the girls there that most of the time you'll set a journey and you'll have a destination, and 99% of the time that destination is not where you'll end up. It'll be one of those places you'll set a goal, but then you'll end up exactly where you need to be, if that makes any sense. It's what I told them, and they seemed to think it made sense. So I was like, okay, cool. I said something that made sense. But yeah, it was always WWE or bust for me, which was a weird feeling because then getting there, and then realizing that it wasn't really what I wanted. It was like the Land of Oz, and then you pull the curtain and you're like, oh, it's just a crotchety old man behind a curtain that runs this whole thing, and it's kind of lousy. But while on that journey, I found what I did love, and that was just professional wrestling as a whole. I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with just being a pro wrestler and making a living being a pro wrestler, which to me is the coolest thing in the world that I get to do right now. So yes, having that tunnel vision might have been a bad thing, but it also helped me expand my horizon and realize things that I probably wouldn't have realized.
Of course. And, you know, fast forwarding, you know, from that time, now you're competing against Nick Aldis for the NWA World Championship, you know, on prime time. You're back with Ring of Honor. You guys, or you're on your sort of say, I Miss Wrestling tour that I saw, you know, on Twitter, going around just doing these awesome things, 14 people, you know, in attendance. What was your what was that experience like coming from being, in WWE arenas to 14 people?
It was awesome. And I'm not even sugarcoating it. It was cool. Like, this whole tour has been awesome. I've had the experience it's like been ups and downs and lefts and rights and like different types of emotions. But at the end of the day, the emotion of just loving what I'm doing has always been there, which I haven't felt in a long time. Just this idea of like, I love professional wrestling, and whether there's 14 people there or there's 40,000 people there, I get to do what I love. And, everyone's making like a big deal, like, oh, he still went out there and he wrestled. There was never an option to me. Like, that's just what it was. You show up, you do your job, and you leave. Whether there's 14 people or 20 people, this is what you've been hired to do. I would rather wrestle in front of 14 dedicated fans than 40,000 fans that are just kind of like, whatever. Oh, that's the 205 guy that we don't really care about. I'd rather 14 diehard dedicated fans, because those are the people that care about you, and those are the people that matter. It's like, all these people that talk crap about me and Maria, they don't matter because they're not our fans. Our fans matter, not the people that, like, you're never going to be my fan. You don't like me. I want to talk to my fans. Why? Because you invest in me. You care about me. So in turn, I'm going to care about you. If 14 people are willing to show up in a snowstorm, in a blizzard conditions in Oklahoma City, I'm going to show up too, because those are my fans.
Of course. And I saw the videos, all over social media of how your reaction to being there, the fans' reaction, those are real pro wrestling fans, without a doubt. And you can see the love and passion you have for it, just from the way you're just happy to be there and the way you interacted with them. And honestly, I commend you for that, because today's day and generation of wrestling, you don't necessarily see that love and passion as much as we're normally used to seeing.
No, but and I think it's important, and I think we need to remind people in this industry just who dictates this industry, and it's the wrestlers and it's the fans. And for some reason, we've gone away from that. For some reason, we've given the power to people who don't even step in the ring, and we've said, "Yeah, you dictate what we do and what's good in wrestling." And I'm like, most of these old men don't know what's good in wrestling anymore. They're outdated. They don't have a clue. I just did a podcast with Disco Inferno, which ended up being very good, because we just debated what was good in wrestling. We had this open dialogue about what we think is good in wrestling. And it was actually a really good conversation, because he explained to me his opinion. This is what I think is wrong today. And I would say, I get that, but this is what's been working. And this is why it's different than 1998 when you were in the industry. And we started to figure this out and piece it together, as opposed to just letting these older men who have no idea where the direction, or haven't had a good idea since 1992, are now writing these TV shows and being like, yeah, this is good wrestling. And I'm going, it's not good wrestling. This is lousy television you're producing. This is boring. It's hokey. It's cartoony. And I'm like, I want to see actual wrestling. I want to see Ring of Honor style wrestling. I want to see New Japan style wrestling. I want to see wrestlers wrestle. I don't want to see them, set themselves on fire. I don't want to see them driving clown cars. I want to see them wrestling, because that's professional wrestling. And like, you got to find guys and girls that actually love what they're doing. And it's been really cool to be on this tour, because I have found a ton of guys and girls that love what they're doing.
Of course. And I tell fans all the time when they're complaining about WWE or complaining about another company, I tell them it's not the only option anymore. There's so many other options, and those other options are making up for the lack of whatever you're looking for in WWE that you're not getting, Mm-hmm. And I'd also say, like, subconsciously, I think WWE created, an AEW or these other opportunities because of what they lacked and what the wrestling, just being disconnected from the wrestling fan in general.
I don't think they know what's good anymore. I really don't. And that's just, they don't have a clue.
I don't know if they care, or why would they? I mean, they're making money, so like, why would they care if it's really what is good, or I mean, the talent.
I think that's the cool thing.
There's more talent in that company than I think there's ever been. Yeah. But like, it doesn't matter what the fans are begging for, or it doesn't matter what people are saying, this is good or this is bad. because at the end of the day, if they're making that much money, they're not going to change.
Yeah, not gonna risk it.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
why would you change if you don't have to?
But I think that's what's cool. That's what's cool about Ring of Honor that
Yeah.
I've noticed that I love is like they're taking what their fans tell them through social media, through whatever.
The
I mean,
experience.
obviously, just
Hashtag
social-
choose your honor.
exactly. But that's my point. It's like they're taking right now everything's through social media because of the pandemic. But when you have live crowds, they listen to the crowds and then they take what the fans are saying. They did the whole experience thing. That was legit. They said, tell us the matches you want to see. And the fans voted on them. And they just put the matches out there. It wasn't them like pretending. It was real. And like, give the fans what they want. They got great responses from the Pure tournament. So they kept doing the Pure wrestling. And they're still getting great, even better responses. So they're still doing it. And like, just listen to your fan base. They will tell you what they want to see.
Of course. And that kind of leads me into my next question is, now you both are sort of, home now in Ring of Honor. What was the reasoning behind that? Because I'm sure, like you guys said, there were so many different, options and opportunities out there. What was it about Ring of Honor that really said, you know what, we're going to go home and do this?
Did you open a window, Mike?
I did not know.
Oh, it sounded like a window all of a sudden opened. I was like, I can't hear anything.
We're going over some bumpies.
Oh, some bumpies?
Some bumpies.
Okay. Be careful on those bumpies, dear.
They're deadly.
Yeah, well, they might be. You got to be careful.
Focus.
I think it's two different things. I'm not looking to wrestle. Everybody likes to say that I think that I'm this great wrestler or whatever. I'm not. I am a terrible wrestler. I can get by depending on who's in the ring with me. If you've noticed, in the last several years, it's all been gimmick matches. I don't actually wrestle. I either pin someone or it's some weird thing where Mike's taking more bumps than I am. So I don't want to wrestle. I will, if you hashtag your honor and you want Maria Kanellis to wrestle, I will do it because I am here for the experience. But I want to move forward. I want it to mean more. I want it to be for the next generation. I have no interest in seeing my butt hanging out when I'm like 50. Maybe it'll still be hot. It could be hot. Mike still think it's hot apparently because he likes older ladies. But I don't want to sit back. Like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing before. So Ring of Honor is giving me that opportunity. And so I'm taking it and I'm sticking my teeth into it. And I'm really excited about the announcements that I'm making over the next couple months. We have big stuff planned. I wish I could say more about it, but with the pandemic, I don't want to make any promises. But Ring of Honor is giving me the opportunity to create something that I'm really proud of and that other women will get opportunities from.
I mean, for me, it was always one of those situations where it was don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're appreciated. And Ring of Honor has always appreciated me. They gave me my first opportunity ever in pro wrestling. And then they were the first company to call me when I got released. And to me, that goes a long way. And to have them reach out and say, hey, this is what we want to do. And then taking what I'm trying to get out of professional wrestling and mixing it with the fact that I feel like I'm appreciated there, it was almost a no-brainer. Now, I'm not saying I'll never go anywhere else because that's phony baloney. I'm sure I'll be everywhere. That's my goal. I want to wrestle as much as I can. But right out of the gate or right now or maybe still 5 years from now, it was always Ring of Honor. Plus, Taven was there. And, like, I got to go see Taven. If it wasn't for Maria, I would be married to him. So it's just, to me, it was a no-brainer. And it's the last, however long I've been back has just like reaffirmed that idea that this was the right decision, because I have had so much fun since I've been there. I look forward to these tapings. I look forward to the bubble. I get excited. I dig the passion at Ring of Honor. I dig the presentation. I love everything they're doing moving forward. And so I want to be a part of that because, like, it's one of those things. Like, I see the rocket starting to take off, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to jump on that thing before it takes off, because I think Ring of Honor is about to do some really cool things. Hopefully, once this pandemic opens up, we can get back to live shows, and I think that's when it'll really start to kick in.
Of course, and you know, you mentioned Taven being back in Ring of Honor, you know, making your return to make the save, so to say. Was that what kind of experience was that? Was that like a full circle experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, besides the fact that I wore a shirt that was far too tight for me.
Sorry.
It was my wife's decision. She told me, anyone that didn't like my suit, blame Maria. Just
My
saying.
fault. I didn't like it either. I watched it and I went, ew, who picked up that suit? Oh, it was me.
Those buttons.
I'm shaming myself.
Yeah, those buttons were hanging on for dear life. I can tell you for a fact.
Just because you're so big, babe. You're so big.
That's I'm gonna hang up now. No, it was honestly, it was one of the coolest, awesomest, amazing moments in my career. Like, it was very emotional, because you go from 3 years of basically not doing anything, and in those 3 years, basically all the fans saying you're not worth it, you're never going to amount to anything, while WWE's basically telling you, yeah, we don't think you're worth it, but we're just going to shelf you, and you're never, like, one of my last straws was literally talent relations telling me, yeah, we think you're a good hand here. And I was like, oh, well, leave me. I'm out of here. Like, screw you. So it's like, honestly, one of those things where being told constantly, and then subconsciously, and then the way WWE works, where they just don't tell you when they don't like you, which is real mature. Dealing with all that in your brain and in your head, and just feeling so worthless at certain points, to come back and know, like, wow, like, no, you're not. This is awesome. I don't know. It was just a really, really cool experience. It really just relit a passion, and it just made me love wrestling again.
Of course. And with both of you having this positive and really motivated mentality, what do you both think is next? I know, Maria, you can't really talk about what's going on the next few months, but what do you both think is next to come for your careers?
I think it's a settling into whatever company it is. I feel like because we were fighting to get into WWE so hard, going from Ring of Honor and Impact, we never really settled into those roles. And then when you get to WWE and they're like, oh, we're going to have you do this, and Mike's going to have this great run, and blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, he's going to 205, and that's going to be awesome. Oh, SmackDown, oh, this. We never settled. Like, it was like whirlwind. And we wanted to just settle into our careers and be happy somewhere and just, dig our feet in and really be a part of something. I feel like we can do that now. Or at least we're getting there. Maybe we won't feel completely like that until there's no more coronavirus, or at least, there's people at shows where I'm moshing with. So like I feel like we can finally breathe a little bit. See what happens over the next few months. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all about wrestling. I feel like for so long on the indies and in Ring of Honor, I had this perception of being like this sports entertainer, WWE guy. And then once I got to WWE, I was like, I don't want to be this at all. I want to be the wrestler, Mike Bennett. I want to be a professional wrestler. So for me, and the only way to do that and to prove that is to win. I want to win all of the titles, all of them. Give them to me. Give me every single one. I literally want to take every single title and shove it down everyone's throat that said I could never do this and never accomplish this. That's my goal. I want to be Ring of Honor World Champ, Pure Champ, TV Champ, Tag Champ. I want to go to New Japan, win the IWGP Heavyweight Champ. I want all of the titles. This is my chance. I'm literally looking at these moments to solidify my legacy in professional wrestling. And I'm just not going to stop until I go exactly where I want to go.
And this is where our careers do this. I want none of the titles. None. I want none.
I'll take your title too.
You know what title I want? I want the title of boss. That's the title I want. I want none of the titles. It's that's great, but yeah, I think he will get all the titles.
No, I think so too.
I'll steal them.
You can hear, you know, the hunger and the passion. I think that's definitely going to happen for you, honestly.
Thank you. I definitely have. I haven't felt this way about wrestling since I first started. So I don't know if that means anything to anyone. It means a lot to me. But the way I feel and my hunger and my drive, I feel like I'm this 16-year-old kid again. That's like, I'm gonna be a wrestler. Yay! That's how I feel right now.
This is a conversation before the I Miss Wrestling tour began. It was Mike saying, I really miss wrestling, and him looking real downtrodden. He was like this. Then I said, why don't you leave and just go wrestle? And I'll stay home and take care of the little ones. And then you can get tested before you come home to make sure you didn't catch anything. And instantly there was a big smile. He was dancing around the house. I think he did that scene. And like, what was that scene where he was wearing the long shirt, Tom Cruise? And
Risky
like,
business, right?
That was Mike.
That was
After I said, go wrestle, enjoy. And so we replayed that scene.
Of course. And I like to ask this question towards the end of my interviews with all my guests. And it's when you both are done wrestling, Mike done in the ring, what do you both want your legacies to be once you step away from pro wrestling?
That I was a good person. I mean, I think I mean, I would like other people to be my legacy. That's like the best way to put it. If someone else's dreams came true, whether it be, you know, my husband or someone else I work with, manage, that's the most important thing. I mean, it's how really good is a bunch of titles or a bunch of accolades if you are a horrible human being. Like, I want to be a good human. That's the most important thing.
For me, I feel the same way. I feel like a legacy in wrestling. I mean, obviously for my selfish reasons, I love the idea of being known as a really good professional wrestler. But honestly, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how you make people feel. And so we do this because we try to make people feel a certain way. And so for me, when people think Mike Bennett, I hope they smile. Like, I hope, like, wrestlers, fans, I hope they're like, oh, like they just grin and they're like, oh, he was a cool dude. Like, I think about one of my good buddies, Brody, and everyone's sitting there and like nobody knew the effect he had on everybody until he passed away. And then you look and you go, wow, there's a guy that left a legacy that isn't something you work for. It's just who you are. And that was Brody. It was just who he was. And I've never seen people come together like they did for Brody. And I think that's just a testament to how he made people feel. It's funny, when he passed away, I was like, oh yeah, Brody, I felt like was a good friend of mine. And everybody seemed to think Brody was their best friend, which was just like, that's who he was. Everyone thought he was their best friend. And I think that's far more important. I think that's way more important. I hope people look back and think of me and they think of my kids. I think they think of my wife and they go, he loved his family. That's the most important. Titles are phony baloney BS.
What I'm gonna remember about you though is how you help them through their recoveries and through
I
their.
hope that too.
For me, even as your wife, like the first thing I think about when it comes to your career is how many people have came up to you in like the grocery store or at signings or whatever and said, thank you so much for telling your story because it meant a lot to me. And like, that's a legacy in itself. Like, no matter what you do moving on, like the fact that you've affected people so much already by telling your story, that makes you a good human.
And I think that you both really, Maria more grew up in front of the wrestling audience, and just sharing your whole life. I mean, every part of it, the struggles and the ups and the downs and, starting a family and getting married. I think that it's just really, like I said at the beginning, a true power couple professional wrestling, because you don't really get to see everything, especially in WWE where they kind of, they shade certain things. But you both being able to, express yourself, letting everybody know, the real you. What's the best piece of advice that you both can give for people who've gone through similar struggles, before WWE, sobriety, COVID, things of everything, really?
You want to start?
No, go ahead, sweetie.
I think the biggest thing to know is every day is a new day. And there's days that I go to bed at the end of the night and I'm like, oof, I wasn't as good of a mom as I wanted to be today, or I wasn't as good of a performer, or I wasn't as good of a whatever. And then I just try and do better the next day. Like, if you focus too much on where you fail, then that's where you live. You live in the failure. But if you look at the failure as a way to grow, as a way to change, then you look at every failure as an opportunity and not this huge failure. Because, I mean, I was fired by 3 billionaires in 1 year, and one of them was the president of the United States. Like, I understand failure, and I lost my house the year after that. Like, my house was foreclosed on, like, a mess. And then I met my husband, and then things changed from there. And it's always ups and downs. It doesn't matter who you are. It's 1,000 ups and downs, and just using each up and down as a learning process. But to be happy or find a way to be happy, because this is one life. That's it. And so even on our shittiest days, we dance in the kitchen. We figure it out. We do a little boogie in the kitchen.
Yeah, I for me, honestly, it's just I feel the same way Maria does, but it's also this idea of perfection's not real. There's no such thing as perfection, and I think this COVID times and social media times has made people start to think like, oh, we can attack people online when they screw up or when they make mistakes. And I want people to know that literally every single person in this world, they make mistakes, they fail, they screw up, they fall on their face. It's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to screw up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to say, I don't know. We're so afraid to say, I don't know. And again, I don't know why. We're so afraid to say, I don't know, or I'm sorry, I was wrong. Or yes, I will hold myself accountable. Accountability is such a huge thing that is lacking big time nowadays. We are all just flawed, imperfect humans just trying to survive. And once we realize that, I think it becomes so much easier, because what we do is we look at everyone's perfect life on social media, and then everyone is attacking everyone else for not being perfect. When none of us are perfect. It doesn't exist. It's fake. It's a false thing to try to achieve. It's not real. What is real is all of us having flaws, all of us being imperfect, and all of us just trying to survive and learn from those mistakes and those failures. Once you learn that, I have figured out life, my friends.
Awesome. And the last question I have for you guys, it's kind of like a way off topic one. But your I guess your duo theme in WWE, the theme entrance music you guys had, what did you think about that theme when it was presented to you guys?
I loved it.
I loved it. It was awesome.
Amazing.
I still love it.
Yeah.
It literally represents us so much, because it's like this ridiculous power ballad, and like just the goofiness of it, but the fun of it too. Like, we loved it, and it could have been such a cool character, and it's unfortunate that we weren't able to do it, but like at the same time, we'll always have the theme song,
Yeah.
All I want is whenever someone says like, what's the greatest theme song, I want it to be Billy Gunn, Ass Man, and then Greatest Love. That's it. Just
hey,
hit
you know what?
two.
My Zebra Head is up there, man. It is. It's actually one of the most downloaded theme songs of all time. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Nothing touches Ass Man.
Everybody touches the ass.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that theme, I remember when you guys debuted with it, it was stuck in my head, I think, for weeks. It was just
it was the greatest. It really was.
Awesome. So where could everybody listening find you both on social media, follow the podcast, whatnot? Where could they go and find you guys?
So because Mike doesn't know any of his stuff ever, on Instagram, it's Maria Kanellis. On Twitter, it's Maria L. Kanellis. On YouTube, you can watch our little reality show that like I say reality show, but it's not. It's a docu-series. It's about our real life. You can watch that on YouTube. It's on asy.com as well. And if you want to become my patron and see all my fun photo shoots, you can do that. Mike really likes the photo shoots because sometimes he gets to shoot them. This last one I did myself.
I was in Oklahoma City.
I know you were so mad too.
Oh man.
Anyways, so yeah, I think that's it. And then Mike's you're gonna have to like Google because he doesn't know.
No, I know mine. You can. My Twitter is @RealMikeBennett, and my Instagram is @TheRealMichaelBennett. And like Maria said, we're filming this thing that I'm doing now on the road. That'll be part of our show, which is the Bennetts. Like Maria said, you can see one of the episodes on YouTube, and if you like it, then you can go to asytv.com, and it's available on Roku and Apple TV and all that fun stuff.
And we have what do we have? 3 episodes on there now?
3, 2, 3, 4.
3.
This 3 or 4.
That'll be 4.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and you can do that, and then go watch Ring of Honor. Please go watch it. You can
and hashtag
Choose
Your Honor. And you get hashtag. This is my hashtag symbol. Maybe this is my new like symbol when I come out. I'm like this.
No, don't do that. No.
Okay. So lame. You're so lame. You're the worst, Burr. All the inside jokes now. Anyway. So yeah, you can and join the Facebook group for Choose Your Honor and the experience for Ring of Honor. So lots of things. You can get way too much of us on social media, but we are open book. So our reality show, The Bennett, is literally like, hey, here's our life.
It's not like a reality show. It's not scripted. It's just pure, utter Bennett BS. That's what it is. It's
lots of Freddie Moon, who she
lots of Freddie.
Show.
Well, I'm excited to see it. I know the fans listening, they're going to be excited to see it. I want to thank you both for taking the time to talk and really, like you said, be an open book and talk about everything that goes on in your life. And I'm really excited for, the future of Ring of Honor, but more or less the future of both of you guys, because I can see and feel the passion and the love for it. And I'm excited to see where you guys, what happens next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thanks.